Okay, let's talk about military history. Wars have tales of brilliant strategy, colossal stakes, and then there's the time an entire country's army declared war on a bunch of birds and lost. No, this isn't a joke. This is the story of the Great Emu War of 1932, a conflict so bizarre, so humiliating, that decades later, officials still couldn't bear to be reminded of it. This is the ultimate story of a massive, serious, government-backed plan that completely fell apart because of one simple, ridiculous problem. So, here's the setup. It's 1932. Australia is reeling from World War I and the Great Depression. The government had a plan: give returning soldiers land to farm in Western Australia. These new soldier settlers were encouraged to grow more wheat. There was just one problem. Someone else had already claimed that land. No, not another army. Emus. Specifically, 20,000 emus. 20,000. These birds were migrating, found this all-you-can-eat wheat buffet, and just went to town. And these aren't just big chickens. The emu is a serious piece of work. We're talking birds standing 5 to 6 feet high, 1.5 to 1.8 meters, with powerful legs that let them run incredibly fast. They were described in the press at the time as a tough, prolific, gangling marauder. Gangling marauder. Love that. They weren't just eating the crops, they were rolling in them, flattening everything. And worse, they were knocking down the fences, which then let rabbits in. It was an ecological disaster. The farmers, many of them ex-soldiers, tried to shoot them with rifles, but that was quite ineffective. You might get one or two, and the rest would just scatter. So, the farmers go to the government for help, and the government, in its infinite wisdom, agrees. This is where the big plan kicks in. Did they send pest control? No. Did they build better fences? Absolutely no. The Minister for Defense, Sir George Pierce, officially approved a military operation. They sent in the army. Specifically, the 7th Heavy Battery of the Royal Australian Artillery. They were led by Major G.P.W. Meredith, and they brought the big guns. Literally. Their weapons? 2 Lewis machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition to fight birds. This was it. Man versus beast. Machine gun versus emu. The Emu War had officially begun. So, on November 2nd, 1932, Major Meredith and his men roll into the Campion district ready for action. They spot a group of about 50 birds. The machine gunner's dreams of firing into serried masses of emus were about to come true. The soldiers get in formation. They open fire, and it goes poorly. See, the army had a plan. The emus did not. The birds responded to the organized assault with inspired chaos. As one ornithologist later put it, the emu command had evidently ordered guerrilla tactics. Instead of panicking and running away in a big group, the emus split up into innumerable small units. This made the machine guns uneconomic, a fantastic military term for completely useless. The birds were just too fast. The press reported on the elusive emus too quick for machine guns. Okay, round 1 goes to the emus, but Major Meredith isn't giving up. Time for a new plan. On November 4th, the soldiers try an ambush. They find a pool where about 1,000 emus are coming to drink. This is it. They wait. The birds get close. Fire. The gun jams. It jams. After killing maybe 10 or 12 birds, the gun stops working. The other 990 emus just scatter. This is getting embarrassing. The army is literally being outmaneuvered by birds. By November 8th, the situation is a joke. It's reported that Major Meredith's party had used 2,500 rounds of ammunition to destroy 200 emus. That's 12.5 bullets per emu. And remember, these are birds that are supposedly easy to hit with a machine gun. The government is facing ridicule. Politicians are asking who is going to pay for the bullets. One politician in New South Wales sarcastically asked if a medal was to be struck for those taking part in this war. His counterpart in Western Australia replied that the medals should rightly go to the emus, who have won every round so far. The army was recalled. The first campaign was over. The emus had won. But the farmers weren't happy. The emus were still destroying everything, so the army was sent back in. And this time, Major Meredith had new tactics. If the emus are too fast, we have to be fast too. Yes. At one point, Meredith ordered a Lewis gun to be mounted on the back of a truck. Mobile warfare. What could go wrong? Well, it turns out, everything. First, A truck that can go 65 miles per hour on a road struggles to do 20 miles per hour over rough farmland. The emus were still faster. Second, have you ever tried to stabilize a machine gun on a static mount while bouncing over rough terrain? You can't hit anything. And third, a truck can only chase one emu at a time. While it's bumping along trying to get a shot, the hundreds of other emus are making a clean getaway. It was a complete, total, comical failure. The army finally gave up. After about a month, the crestfallen field force withdrew from the combat area. The final tally? The army fired 9,860 rounds of ammunition. The official kill count? 986 birds. That is exactly 10 bullets for every confirmed kill. In his report, Major Meredith noted that his unit had suffered no casualties. Thanks, Major. Glad your men were safe from the birds. But the story doesn't end there. The real comedy is in the Army's reaction. They were in absolute awe of their enemy. Major Meredith himself, clearly humbled, sighed, "If we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world." He wasn't done. He said the emus can face machine guns with the invulnerability of tanks. He even compared them to Zulus whom even dum-dum bullets could not stop. Think about that. A major in the Royal Artillery just compared a bunch of flightless birds to an armored tank division and legendary Zulu warriors. And it gets better. A newspaper reporting on the war claimed the emus were learning. They said each pack seems to have its leader now. A big black-plumed bird which stands fully 6 feet high and keeps watch while his mates carry out their work of destruction and warns them of our approach. The Australian army was defeated so badly, laughing, they convinced themselves the emus were developing a military command structure. So what's the lesson here? The Australian government launched the most ambitious project in the history of Western Australia's Emu War. It was a unique operation, a full-on military dispatch with machine guns to solve a pest problem. And it was the one which failed most miserably, and which brought for the bird its most complete victory. It's the perfect example of a huge, serious, expensive plan being completely undone by the simplest, most absurd reality. Birds are fast, and they don't run in straight lines. Sometimes the most invulnerable tank is just a very, very stupid bird that doesn't know it's supposed to lose. So, there you have it, folks. We didn't talk about the horrors of World War II, the mud of Vietnam, or the dust of Waterloo. But we did talk about a war where a group of soldiers spent almost 10,000 rounds, and the side that earned the medals was, without question, the emus. So, what are your thoughts on this great emu victory? Do you agree with Major Meredith's immortal words? The emus have the bullet-carrying capacity of tanks. Let me know your thoughts about this fiasco in the comments below. If you enjoyed this absurd historical adventure, make sure to subscribe and like the video so you don't miss the next time a serious plan completely falls apart. Until the next story of a major undertaking that devolved into a comical failure. Until then, check the safety on your machine guns, just in case.